Hey, AfterBuzzers, we are talking about episode 5 of The Bold Type. I think we all probably cried a little because it was such an inspiring episode. You won't want to miss this recap, so stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I feel like this song is super inspiring, and I just really liked it.
I like this song a lot.
The soundtrack of this show is seriously so spot on to every emotion that you're feeling.
It is.
And that's something that I think is so important in TV.
I was dancing and
Yeah.
during like one song.
The
Make sure
soundtrack
that-
is very gossip girly, and which means they have really great music, which I feel like you can go on Spotify or whatever and download
Yeah,
the song.
I love it. I love it so
work out
much. Yes. Well, before we get into it, we've got to introduce ourselves. I'm your host, Allie Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Allie Nasta and on Instagram at Ellie Girl. And before we introduce the panel, we actually have a new guest tonight because, a new panel member tonight, Devyn. Unfortunately, Leslie is no longer able to join us on this this panel, but we have the lovely Devyn. And before we get into it, Karla, where can they find you on social media?
Hi guys, I'm Karla Beltran, and you can find me on Instagram at Karla B Travels and on Twitter at Karla Beltran R.
And Devyn, where can they find you?
Hey guys, I'm Devyn Howard. You can find me on all social media at Dining with Devyn.
Kyo, where can they find you?
Hey guys, I'm Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
And Becca on the couch. She's in the live chat. We are reading what you're saying, and we want to hear your thoughts.
Yes, y'all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and talk to me. Becca B Talks TV.
Hey.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just want to ask everybody, do you know your worth? Because this episode didn't show you what you need
Yes.
to know about yourself.
Yes.
You better think twice, because you ladies are all worth it, and so are you guys out
thanks,
there.
So are you.
But
Sweet.
I think that this episode in particular, I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask you guys,
Yeah.
because it makes you think, we talk about this almost every week. We all have gone through something along these lines about what Sutton's going through, what Jane and whatever. But I just feel like Sutton in particular, because she is in the beginning stages of her career, it kind of resonates with me a lot. How do you guys feel about that?
Oh, I totally agree. I feel the exact same way. Like, lots of Sutton's struggles are struggles that I've personally gone through. We were just talking, I'm 3 years out of college and kind of figuring out my path, and I can relate so much with what Sutton's going through.
Right.
Yeah, same. I graduated from college 2 years ago, and I've always known what I wanted to do, but just trying to get to that point has been a little bit tough. And then, like, once you get there, then it's like working your way up, and just it's completely relatable as to where she stands.
Yeah. And sorry, good.
And getting people to recognize your value as well. Like, that's the hardest part. Like, getting the salary that you think you deserve, being taken seriously, being valued in the workplace. I feel like that's something that a lot of young women struggle with, and something that I've personally struggled with.
Totally. And I think that's one of those things, the salary that was lower than she expected. She bought these new shoes. She was super excited to start this new job, and then realized it was going to be almost a demotion from her previous job. And I just was wondering, have you ever been in the position where you're scared to negotiate like she was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have too, where you go into an interview and they ask you that question, what are you making and what do you want to make? And it's kind of that, like, you don't know what to say, and as much as you can prep yourself, I feel like it never comes out the way that I would want it to come out.
I think like Sutton, most people are scared to say, like, I think people know their worth, but I think some people are scared because they're like, I don't want to mess this chance up, this opportunity up.
Right.
So some people are like, maybe if I don't say anything, I'll be okay. And I think that's how Sutton felt at first, because when you see she comes out, she felt like she didn't have a safety net.
Right.
But that's why I love this episode. I love that you guys just graduated from college. You guys are babies. But I love it because I feel like everyone can relate to Sutton at this moment, because I feel like anyone can relate to this. Like, do I speak up for myself?
Right.
Will I lose this job? Will I lose this position? Now I don't have the safety net of my old job there. So I loved seeing her in this, like, complicated situation and her taking care of things.
It's very intimidating to go and do that. Like, as much as you know your own value, it's intimidating to have to go up and convince a superior.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You're like, okay.
Yeah, because obviously it's really scary, and you don't really know the outcome. So you could be going in like, okay, I really want this job, but if I say something, I could be putting the job in the line. And I think that's where you get scared the most, where, like, okay, maybe there's a chance they won't respond to me or they won't give me the job because I tried to do this negotiation. So
Totally.
yeah, it's really scary.
And I think the way that she spoke to Oliver about deserving her salary was the way that we should all think and feel, the way that we should all know what we're capable of. Because sometimes I think too, you know, your insecurities can get the best of you at any time and any day. And that's something that I was really picking out of her, is that, like, you know, she's doing these power poses and she's trying to reinforce these positive thoughts into her head, and she's really pushed herself to the like possible last limit that she could, as we saw in last episode and this episode. And I think that power poses are actually something that could work, you know, and being positive and just looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, you know, I am worth it,
right?
You know. And I think sometimes we all need a little bit of that power pose.
Give those positive affirmations going, like, which I love, because like if you look at certain shows, other shows like The Insecures or the Being Mary Janes, like they have things like that where the women are in the mirrors and they're talking to themselves. And I think it's good for people in general just to give yourself that positive affirmation, or like, I'm good, I'm enough, I'm great, or even do the stance that she did. I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
And it was so cute to just kind of see that side too, because they were being quirky with it. But it's true. Everybody deserves that positive reinforcement. It doesn't need to come from other people. Like you just need to hone in on what you are good at and know that and be confident with it.
I was just gonna say confidence. We said this a few weeks ago. Confidence is the biggest thing, and it is key, and it comes off whether if it's a relationship, school, a business meeting. When you're confident, you know, at least with the people, they think that you know what you're talking about. It comes off like, okay, she or he knows what they're doing. We have to give them the deal. I just feel like confidence is like number one, and I love this show because they show so much confidence.
Yeah, and the I love the kind of confidence that they show here, because it's not the kind of confidence where you walk in with your nose sticking up high, thinking that you're better than everybody. It's the kind of confidence that you walk into the room knowing that you're the best that you can possibly be without comparing yourself to anybody else, because everybody's situation is differently. So I personally love the confidence that the girls play out in this whole like show.
Right.
Jumping off of that, when she was going in and listing all of the reasons why she felt like she deserved perks or the salary bump or whatever it was, I was like sitting there like taking notes, like, okay, this is really good. Like, it was just, you know, you're confident, you're clear, you know that she was nervous about it, you know that situation is intimidating, but she went at it was like so clear, so focused. Yeah.
It's seriously, what she did say was everything that I've probably ever wanted to be able to say in front of someone like that. It's crazy. But speaking of the whole confidence thing, it kind of leads into the saying sorry, the word sorry. But before we do, really quick, I want to know, do you guys have any power poses that you do to yourselves? Like, do you have any power poses you do in the mirror?
I don't power pose, but I do the whole talking to myself in the mirror thing and like affirmations, and I'm like, yo, you're great. You're enough. You are beautiful. You can do it, because, you know, even like, and I'm a really confident person, but sometimes just gets hard.
And you gotta power through.
You gotta power through. But after this episode, I feel like now I'm gonna go home and start doing power poses. Because it's actually pretty awesome.
One of the things that I personally like to pay attention to is my my posture. I feel like my posture really speaks for my confidence, and I try to kind of throw my confidence out through my posture. And sometimes I'll find myself like slouching or like, and I catch myself because I'm like, okay, clearly something's wrong. What am I thinking about? And then I'm like, okay, like, and then I start walking and I'm like, my posture is good. I'm like, okay, like I feel myself. This is good. Like, and that's really mainly the
That's
thing
true,
that I do.
your body language really can tell a lot about someone. Because I feel, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you see one of your coworkers and you automatically go to them and ask them if they're okay, because you could tell they're doing something different, slouching. You can tell when someone's disengaged or sad or something. So that's a great point.
I just want to say, like, you were about to bring up the whole sorry situation. This episode really hit me because I'm the sorry girl, I literally sorry 20 times. If I do this all the time with my roommates, I do this with family and friends, I'm like, I'm so sorry. And people are like, please stop saying sorry. I'm like, I'm sorry for saying sorry. So when I seen that situation with Jane, I'm like, why is this me? I'm the sorry girl, and that's something that I'm working on. Because I'm like, you don't have to keep saying sorry, because it's an admission to guilt. And it's like, relax, stop saying sorry every 50 minutes.
And I know we were cracking up about that last week, because I feel like it was just relatable. Also, the confidence thing you all were talking about, I'm reading a comment I was searching the hashtag on Twitter, and I was reading a comment that someone was saying that she's proud of Sutton for standing up for what she deserves. And I think that goes along with the confidence thing. I think the whole thing was kind of a test.
It was, yeah.
Part. Like,
And-
be confident.
Yeah, and he kind of-
show me you're confident.
Yeah, and he
Hashtag
wanted her,
confident.
and Oliver wanted her to kind of be herself and be truthful.
Yeah.
So I think he almost
Yeah.
wanted to see her fight for what she thought
Yeah.
she deserved.
Yeah, I think he pushed her a little
Yeah.
bit.
Wait,
Yeah.
talking about Richard, I'm still Tim Richard.
You are still Team
I would
Richard.
say that
Carla.
because talking about the power stance, this guy was in there telling her like, oh, this is how you do the power stance, like flirting with her when she
Alex.
was dating Richard. So
Uh-huh.
I'm still.
Did you
rooting for
hint
Team
a
Richard.
little jealousy from Richard when he
I
walked
did.
in?
Yes.
I was like,
too,
thank you,
definitely.
Richard. I was like, yes, Richard, that's your girl, and that's another guy trying to flirt with
But
her.
Alex
so.
doesn't know that they're dating.
That's very true.
Oh.
Good point.
Alex thinks Sutton's single. Sutton knows she's dating Richard.
Yeah.
To Alex, he's like, hey,
Right.
Open game.
Yeah.
competition, bro. I don't know. I liked it a little bit.
Yeah.
I
I was
feel
like,
like
ooh.
Sutton and Alex seem very platonic to me.
That's what I've been saying.
Same.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, but I think I understand why Richard would walk in and be like, "Oh, what's going on here? I'm jealous."
Right.
But to me, I don't think that's.
It was cute. I think for him, because he's seen her laughing and she's like,
yeah, and they're being goofy. Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like Alex, he's been very helpful towards Sutton like a lot lately. And I mean, Richard doesn't know because Richard's like downstairs doing his like law
Right.
thing. He has no idea. But I think this was like the first time he's seen her engaging with another guy and being playful. And even though like you're right, they're super platonic, nothing's going on. But it was a little bit of, which I liked a little bit. I was like, that's right, Richard, be jealous.
Do you guys think
I
that
like
this is?
I like him being jealous.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be like a storyline that's going to develop?
I hope so.
I think so. I don't know if you guys have seen it already, but we actually got to talk to Megan Fahey in the studio last week, which you guys should definitely check out that interview. She is amazing. She's probably one of the sweetest people that I've ever met. And she just talked a lot about the relationship with Richard. And she said that one of the things she really liked about the script is that relationship, because a lot of the times, you know, they try to make that character of Richard like a villainous character and almost just kind of someone that ends up like kind of, you know, messing with her. And I think it was kind of, it seems that it's not going to be that. And we all automatically are kind of like, he's got to be a villain somehow, but he continues to push her and really open that
be
envelope.
amazing.
Like when he delivered breadsticks to her after
Yes.
she was working late. Do you guys remember that scene?
Yes.
Oh,
Shout
yeah.
out
Like, where can I find a guy like this?
Right. No, but yeah. And I mean, she told him in the kitchen. Let's not forget that scene. She really
I
told
love
him
that
what was
part.
up.
Yeah.
I love it.
She's like,
But-
let me be independent. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Talk to you later.
Well, you guys should definitely go check out the Megan Fahey interview on AfterBuzz TV, obviously, because she gave us some really great just insight about the show and everything, and it was awesome. But I do want to get back to the "I'm sorry" thing, and I have problems with it too. I mean, it's one of those things where you're a nice person, you're a genuinely nice person. I actually had a conversation with someone about this yesterday about how I need to work on it because it kind of makes it lose the credit of you actually being sorry. And I always have friends that literally will look at me like, Allie, stop saying sorry to me. And so I think this is something that we all like, once you're aware of it too,
Yes.
it's just, you kind of start thinking about it in a different light.
I cannot relate to that because when I was younger, I had somewhat like of an older friend, mentor and she would always tell me to not, because I used to be the person that would say like, oh, I'm sorry, like, oh, sorry, like, and then I would always say sorry. And she was like, Karla, you need to learn to when it's the right time to say sorry. Like because like if you look at the definition of sorry, it means like you're sorry, obviously.
Right.
And she was like, only say sorry when you actually mean it, that you're sorry, because then it's valuable. Because if you just say sorry all the time, then people are going to be like, okay,
loses
like,
credit.
are you really
Right.
really sorry?
And that's exactly what Jacqueline said. She said, do not say sorry when you have nothing to say sorry about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Except which it led to Jane actually needing to say that.
But that was a learning
Yeah.
experience, especially
Yeah.
for someone who says sorry like myself a million times. I was literally taking notes like, oh my God, is Jacqueline talking to me? This is me, because it's true. Like, you don't
Right.
have to keep saying sorry for something that you didn't do or you didn't mean. But I think, like you said, when you're naturally so nice, you're like, you don't want to hurt the other person's
Right.
feelings.
Yep.
But your friends are like, bro, it's okay.
Yeah,
you don't have
like,
to keep
calm
saying
down.
sorry.
You know what really helped me, guys, is like saying I apologize, because I like an apology is more like, oh, you're apologizing to them because of whatever you did.
I like that.
But you might not be sorry for your behavior, but you do apologize for whatever it was that you did.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think going forward, I'm gonna try to say I apologize.
I've gotten better at the I apologize thing instead of I'm sorry.
I apologize. I like that.
Speaking
I'm gonna be like, I apologize. No, I'm kidding.
Speaking of apologies, when Jane actually had to make an apology is because you know what? Sometimes you're just going to fail and you can't let that get in your way.
Yeah.
Favorite
And
quote.
that was a really great moment because Jane is struggling with final, like, you know, we were wondering when this was going to happen. She had, you know, all of her articles so far, there's been some sort of struggle, and this is the first one she actually realized she did mess up on, and she did need to be sorry for what had happened. I don't know. I mean, this was kind of a tough thing to watch because it was, I don't know. What did you guys feel about this whole Jane situation with the writing and being sued for defamation?
I personally would have liked to have some more background on what the story said, because I really wasn't. I really didn't comprehend as to why she was being sued until like after that her son was taken out of a program, but I still don't understand why. So I think it would have been nice to kind of have some background on that, so that way we could understand what it is that she did wrong, because I don't really know what she did wrong, but we know that she did something wrong because she was sued for it.
Right.
I think Morgan felt like she exposed her.
But we don't know how.
We don't know how. I think
That's the
because
weird
of
thing.
Jane's notes, they were a little, so I don't know if Jane accidentally put Morgan's real last name, or I don't know if she put something real in there, because Morgan felt like, okay, she invaded my privacy, she exposed me, now my kid's been expelled from school. That was pretty tough to watch, because like you said, at first we didn't know what was happening or why. And I think to Jane, like any of us, when we think we do something great, we're like, wait, what is she talking about? I said she was the most amazing feminist, and she's someone that I looked up to, and I think she just didn't understand. But like, I think with Sutton hit it with the truth, like you didn't do all of your research.
Right.
And I think sometimes, like Jacqueline says, sometimes you're just gonna fail. And I think sometimes as a person, you have to actually step back and look at the other person's perspective to see where they're coming from. Because I felt like Jane in that moment, because I've been in situations like that where you're like, well, wait, what did I do? Like, I know I didn't do absolutely anything wrong. So I think it was great for her to actually sit down and listen to get her perspective. And that's when she was like, you know what? And she went to Morgan's job and apologized. But it was tough. That was tough to watch.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. There I go.
Yeah. No, you're not
Don't say sorry.
Don't say it.
I don't feel like her apology was justified. I don't think it was necessary. I feel like even if we knew the storyline, we obviously know what her intentions were, and I think she did really admire Morgan Stanley. And to apologize for writing a glowing article about her, you know, that accidentally had some consequences, I don't think it deserves an apology. That whole scene kind of left me like cringing a little bit, because I was like, I don't think she should. I think as a feminist and as a strong writer and as somebody who's, you know, bold, in the bold type, she shouldn't have to kind of like sink down and apologize.
Well, do you think that when she basically barked at her saying, you're a stripper, like you exposed your, do you think that was her kind of getting her pride in the way a little bit?
I think both. I think she was being judgy without knowing that she was being judgy. Because I think a lot of people are like this. Like, we think we're so open-minded. We think we're so liberal. We think we're feminists. But there's certain situations where you can be super judgmental and you don't realize it until someone calls you out. So I was happy to see that Sutton was like, no, you can be judgmental and not know it. And I think when she barked at her, I think half of it was, one, I'm defending myself. Yeah. Because you're barking at me and I can't literally stand up for myself. But two, it was like, I'm judging you just a little bit, and I think she had to check herself. I mean, even though Morgan checked herself a little bit, but...
So that did deserve an apology.
That deserved an apology.
Definitely.
I think the article... I think we were a little confused because we're like, was she being judgy in the article? But when she did snap at her at that whole meeting, that deserved an apology. Like, girl, that was rude. Don't judge me for being a stripper. But the article, I think the audience... I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyone in the chat... They can probably tell us, like, were you guys confused? Did you feel like she was being judgy? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a way of defending herself. More than anything. It was like, but I'm a writer and I wrote an amazing thing about you and you're a stripper kind of thing.
And I think people are not going to be satisfied with everything that you write. Like Jacqueline told her, like, sometimes you're just going to fail in life.
Make mistakes.
It's okay, especially as a writer. Like, writers get in trouble a lot for a lot of things, but sometimes it's just like, some people are going to like you and some people are not going to like you.
Yeah, but the thing is that the only people that are like that kind of have the guts to speak out are the writers. The writers are normally the ones that say everything and like put things flat on the table.
Fake news. No, I'm kidding.
Becca, did you want to say something? Was there someone in the chat saying anything?
That's interesting. In the chat said Jane's storyline highlighted how self-proclaimed feminists can judge other women.
This is also true.
You can't be a perfect feminist.
And then David in the chat said that he thought the stripper comment was a bit too far, but that Jane is a great writer, which, like, when you're a great writer and you dare to write what you, like, and you dare to write, like, the truth, I guess, you're going to get in trouble for it, as you all were saying, so.
Right. She was kind of like a lose-lose anyways, because... Yeah. And
Also,
I think maybe... I just think that maybe she didn't realize how much she was exposing. You know what I mean? She didn't think of it from her perspective. If I were to have been on the other side of this, what would I wanted to disclose to protect myself? So, but Devyn, what were you gonna say?
Also, shoot. Now I'm forgetting.
Oh, no.
Don't say sorry.
Okay.
I felt like a sorry was coming. I'm like, don't say sorry.
Well, while you're thinking on that, we'll get into Adena.
Oh my gosh. Can we talk about?
I have a lot of questions for you guys because there was just so much going on. We started out this episode with she kissed a girl and she liked it.
Very much that she slept over.
Yes.
I got shushed multiple times.
Yeah. Well,
you were too excited.
Yeah, Becca was very excited because this is finally something that she's been wanting to happened at the end of last episode, so we're super stoked about it.
All the feels, that's interesting.
But yeah, I mean, she didn't regret it. She was totally into it, and then the tweet gets out, and I think that's when Jacqueline is basically openly like, you can tell me what's going to go on, but Kat just wasn't picking up the hints.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, so, if you were with, I was just wondering, because this whole Kat and Adena thing is a very push and pull. It's very much like, in certain specific relationships, I feel like this is definitely how a lot of people can react. So I was wondering if you're with someone that you liked, would you be the Adena or would you be the Kat? Like, would you be the one to run away from something because you're scared?
I have been the Kat before. I feel like literally, I don't know if you guys feel this way. Every time I watch this show, it's like I'm watching myself and every character. I'm like, why are they talking to me or about me? I definitely felt Kat when she told Adena, like, I've never been in a serious relationship before, and that's something like myself, where I'm like a notorious dater, but I wasn't in serious relationships. Where I remember one time where I started dating someone and it got serious, and I got nervous, where I was like, wait a minute, this is scary. And I think you push people away because you're just nervous, because you think that you're going to mess something up that's great. And as I'm watching Kat, I was getting pissed off because I thought I was watching myself, a younger self, not me today. But I'm like, I totally get it, because when you're scared, fear is the thing that will stop anything and anybody. That goddamn fear.
Yeah.
So I think when I seen Kat, I totally related, because I've been in a situation like that.
See, I feel like I'm the opposite, actually. Like, if I like somebody, even if I have everyone around me telling me it's a bad idea, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm just going to go for it.
That's right.
Whatever, my heart's going to get broken in 8 months, who cares? Like, I just kind of go for it. So I can't really relate to Kat on this, because I would never do something like that.
Right.
But I respect it. And also, let's be real, the type of relationship, she said that she was heterosexual up until this point. So it's a new thing, and maybe it's a little bit...
I totally agree. I think also what did push Kat over the edge was she also reminds me of myself. That's why I'm a sorry person, where we feel like we've done something wrong, where I think she took responsibility for Coco and Adena breaking up. Yeah. That's another thing where she was like, no, let me put them back together. Right. And that's something that I think a lot of people will do. And I think that's something else that bothered her, where she was like, no, I ruined this perfect relationship. I need to get them back together. I'm ruining. It's like, Kat, slow down. Right. Adena already wanted to break up with Coco anyway. Yeah. It's okay. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I think this is also a brand new, this is a lesbian relationship. She's never done before.
Experience.
And I think she felt really like guilty for what happened with her and Coco, which makes sense. And I totally give props to Kat for being the person that like felt bad for making the other person cheat on their partner, because most of the time you'll hear of relationships where somebody, like some girls seduce somebody, and like and then they're not really sorry for what they did. Like at the end, they're actually happy of the outcome because like, oh, this person's free. And for Kat, for her to be like, hey, you know what, this was wrong. Like, I'm sorry. You should work things out with Coco. That's like that speaks a lot for her.
It's refreshing to see a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think she also was just overthinking it a little bit.
She was.
Because, the whole texting, she was like, I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if I should. And I think overthinking is definitely something I have a problem with. And I think when you are in something so new, you almost try to push it away. Like we had talked about, only to protect yourself.
Yep.
Because she could tell she was already getting in over her head of emotions. And even Jane and Sutton saw that. They were saying how they never saw her in this deep to something so quick. So I think it was her way to protect herself by basically saying, bye, just leave me alone because maybe I'll forget about all these feelings. And that's where her overthinking came into play because she was thinking if I just push her away, then it'll just stop it before it's ahead. But something that I thought was very interesting was for a split second, I was thinking that Adena was playing her. Did you guys catch that?
I didn't see that.
People in the chat were talking about that earlier.
Really?
There was a conversation between Mo, that's interesting, and David about how they thought that either Kat or Adena was being a player. Like, some thought Kat was as well.
See, I thought that Adena was totally playing her because of the whole push and pull with the breaking up with Coco, which I understand because, when you are in a relationship for a long time, sometimes that security blanket of that other person is really hard to let go from because as much as you can love them as a person, maybe that love, as Adena had mentioned, has kind of drifted away. And I think that, but when I was seeing that push and pull, I thought that she was just keeping Kat as a security blanket, like on top of what she had with Coco.
Right.
And Coco's not here; she's not in town. So I just kind of was skeptical of that. So
And
I
I
didn't
thought
know
the
if anybody.
opposite. Like I thought she was keeping Coco as a security blanket, like waiting for Kat to kind of get it together.
Right.
Because even though Kat gave her an answer, but I think she felt like, okay, Kat's straight. She's nervous. She's scared. And I feel like she's going to say one thing. She texted me another thing. So that's why I felt like when Coco was calling her, it was just like, okay, here's my security blanket.
Right.
Let me just pull this up. Kat, obviously the whole thing happened and then look what happened.
Right. Well, I mean, would you guys have left in that situation if you're like hanging out with a new fling and you're super excited and all of a sudden that ex that they just told you they broke up with is like blowing up their phone?
I would feel bad. I would probably leave. I'm a feel badder person.
I would leave. You would leave?
I'm a filler better.
I am again.
You know what it is like. I don't know if I would leave, but I would totally feel bad. Like I would feel like it's my fault. I would feel horrible. I'd feel like because then if I'm sitting there, I would be like, this is awkward.
Right.
Because now I'm thinking about
listening to them on
then
the
I'm like,
phone.
God damn. You know, I'm all about karma, and then I start overthinking, and then I'm like, damn, this is karma now.
I would leave too.
I would be like, I'll just probably see you tomorrow because I think the call would ruin it for me. Now if she didn't call, it'd be something different. But because she called, I'd leave.
I think that's what scared her the most.
Yeah.
In the whole episode.
Yeah.
The whole phone
You're
call.
right.
She didn't want to break up a ongoing relationship.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the call too kind of was like a solidifying factor for her. Almost that it scared her so much that thinking if they get back together, then where do I lie in this situation?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how to say it. Lavedra said, I think Kat intrigued Adena by being, by acting like a player type thing.
Kind of as this whole kind of mysterious character.
I still don't really see the Adena as a player story.
I see Kat more as a player.
See either of them. I feel like this is all just like super real. Like what you were saying, I think for Adena, I mean, it would be really difficult to up and break up with someone you've been with for 3 years, and I think it was just a very real depiction of the way something like that would go down. But I don't view it as anybody kind of having like any sort of you know, malicious intentions
Right.
or anything.
I personally believe that they were both really scared.
Yes,
think
because
it's
it's something
scary.
new for the both of them.
Yeah,
Adena's getting out of a relationship. Kat, this is her
Right.
first relationship and a woman relationship. And I think Kat's just I'm the single girl who's notoriously dating. Never been in a real life grown up relationship before, and this is, I think, very nervous for her. I just want to say that Adena's so beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
I
I was like
tweeted it.
swooning. So my name is Kia, so that's a K, so we could just be the Kadena, because I'm like, I'm like obsessed.
I tweeted that we were all
Gorgeous.
like, every time she's on screen, we're all like, oh my god, Nicole is gorgeous.
She is gorgeous.
Her voice is very soothing.
It
too.
is.
Every time she talks, it's very calming.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that
She
out
has a
there.
very like quiet, elegant presence.
Yeah,
That's how
right.
I
Yeah.
would describe
She
it.
can literally
Like,
just
she's-
stand there and look at you, and you're like, oh my god, I love you.
She's just really like like quiet but like firm and
Right.
like
Yeah.
I like
Yes.
that.
Yeah, that's
Fierce.
very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spot
Very
on.
fierce. She's fierce. I love it. Well, I guess I kind of want to get into some predictions, if you guys don't mind, because
Not at all.
there's a lot of things that we also didn't talk about, and that's Ryan. What do they call him?
TV
Pills or what? What is his name?
Pinstripe.
Pinstripe. I'm
Where
like,
is Pinstripe?
Pinstripe, yes. Pickles. No, like Pinstripe was not on this episode, so I feel like we're gonna get something hot and heavy.
Oh yeah, we talked
So,
about that last week.
Let's get into some predictions, ladies. Kia, you wanna start us off?
I will start. First, I just want to say, Sarah Watson, who created the show, I just want to say thank you for creating the show. This is not a prediction, but just want to
gonna,
take the
like, start
time
crying.
to say thank you, because I just feel like this is such a uplifting show for
Yeah.
women, and this is a great girl power, sisterhood type of thing, and just wanted to say I love the show. As far as predictions, I said last week, I do not think, as we've seen, that the Kat and Adena thing was going to last, because I said Kat was going to do something like push her away. Just want to say I was correct.
You're right. Kia was correct.
Correct. But I mean, things may change, because obviously Adena has feelings for Kat, so we don't know
Right.
what's going to happen, because Adena does tell her, I'm on my way to Paris, because your timing sucks, Kat.
Yeah.
I also think, before we talked about Richard being the bad guy, but obviously he's not the bad guy.
No.
But I do think Alex and Sutton, I don't know. I feel like they're really cute and playful, and I feel like that might be a storyline where she's talking to the cute younger guy, and I feel like Richard may be a little jealous. I would love to see that. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I would love to see it. Let's see what else. It's really it. Jane just becoming more. I feel like Jacqueline is gonna become more of a mentor for Jane, because I
Right.
think Jane's looking for that, because she always feels like she's failing Jacqueline.
Right.
Obviously, so I feel like Jacqueline's gonna probably take her under her wing, and she's gonna progress as a writer. I would like to see Pinstripe come back
Same.
for Jane.
Oh yeah, he
And
needs to come back.
and Sutton, I think we're just gonna see her kill it in her new position with Oliver.
Love
Yes.
it.
Great prediction.
She pretty much did
Thank
all the
you.
predictions for us.
I know. Now I'm like, I don't know what's next.
Sorry. Oh no,
Devyn?
I apologize.
Devin, do you have any more predictions to add to that?
Yes. So I think that the Alex and Sutton and Richard potential jealousy thing is going to be the catalyst that kind of gets Richard and Sutton out.
Yes.
Open.
Yes, I agree.
think I think it's going to be addressed again in the next episode, or in a new upcoming episode, where he's going to say, this is hard for me. I want to be able to take you out and be proud of you. So I feel like that's going to be something. I think we're going to see Jane kind of get a more firm footing in her role as a writer. And I do also feel that Jacqueline's going to become kind of like a mentor to her. And I see Kat and Adena's relationship just evolving, and I think they'll hit some stumbling blocks, but I think it'll be a really cool relationship to watch unfold.
Love it.
Here for it.
Yes,
Here for it.
Devin.
Yeah. Well, you guys already know
Can you
that
top that? No, I'm kidding.
I know, right?
I know. Now they have all the predictions. I'm thinking,
I'm like, I don't
know.
even know what to say anymore. I'm like trying to make up something in my mind. Like I've said, I'm all for Team Richard, so I hope that we're able to see the relationship go through for Sutton, because I really like them together, and I personally have a feeling that Adena is not going to go to Paris.
That's a good one. You can top it. That's a good one.
That's good.
Jeez, now I really don't know what to say.
Because parce que ce n'est pas possible. She cannot
Ooh.
go to Paris.
Okay.
And I was actually,
Did you speak French?
Yeah, but what was it?
That's
I said
amazing.
it's not possible for her. Like,
Wow.
That's amazing. Okay.
yeah, I'm like, I don't want her to go to Paris because we want to see Kadena move forward, and
here
I have
for
a
Kadena.
feeling that she's not gonna go see Coco.
But do you think Coco's gonna come to the U.S.?
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm just here for drama.
Wait, I actually like completely blocked out that she was gonna leave for Paris at the end of the episode. I was just like so excited that Kat went over there and was like, "I like you, and we're gonna do this." So my prediction was just like, they're gonna stay together. I didn't even acknowledge the fact that
They just might.
I think they will. I mean, I think that that's a strong relationship. So.
We don't have to acknowledge the Paris thing. It's okay.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
It's probably not going to happen, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
I agree. I think I'm gonna bounce off of kind of what you're saying. I think that Kadena is definitely, they can't just build it up like that and let it go so easily. We're definitely gonna see more of their relationship. I think maybe she will go to Paris, but then realize what she did was a mistake, and so then she's gonna come back to Kat, and there's gonna be definitely some ruffle with their relationship, but then they'll obviously, I think, end up together. I don't know if in the long run, kind of like we mentioned before, how she's definitely gonna open her eyes to that relationship, but they're kind of going to be in separate places, I think, with their life. But it's definitely going to be something that we're going to see go through the end of the season. I think with Sutton and Richard, I definitely just see them getting stronger every time. And I think he's going to be so proud of her when he finds out that she really fought for what she wanted. I think he really likes that in her. I definitely don't see anything with this Alex guy. Okay. I don't know. For me, I just find it as their work best friends, and like they can relate on a different level than she can with Jane and Kat. I think that's with Pinstripe. I think that they're definitely going to get hot and heavy next episode. I'm just feeling it.
I mean, they got hot.
Lots of orgasms coming our way.
But I think we're going to see like more dating material stuff. And
Yeah.
like I mentioned, I think last episode that I think Jane's definitely going to have some struggles with the relationship versus job. What do I choose kind of thing.
Yep.
So we'll probably see that. Becca, what about you? What are your predictions?
Well, in the chat, I want to read some in the
Yes,
chat.
let's do it.
I love that people are in the chat.
That's interesting. Says, I like the name. That it's actually like the name of the person commenting.
Okay.
Says that they think Kadena will happen by the end of the season, which hopefully I'm crossing my fingers.
Yes.
And I really hope that Adena doesn't go to Paris. I love that prediction. And then Lavedra says about season 1, which I loved reading, was I think season 1 is the girls learning new things about themselves, and everything they're going through is a stepping stone.
Yes.
I like
episode
that.
to episode, there's a moral of a story.
Yeah.
It really is.
So that's extremely well said. And that's interesting. Also commented about Kat's soul cycle breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I loved
wow.
that.
I've had that
Yes.
before.
I definitely had that
I've
in
had
Soul
it too.
Cycle. I've had that.
You leave and you're like, I'm going to conquer the world.
Yes.
I fell while I was like doing the bike thing.
No.
But releasing all of that, I've had that moment where I've broke down and I cried.
Yeah.
I'm like, what
It
the?
happens.
I was crying watching the episode.
The
because
show's always talking to us.
Chills.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I was tearing up and I was trying to not make it look like I was crying because I'm like, is
I
this
knew I heard you
embarrassing? I'm not
sniffling.
sure.
Well, the drama is sudden with stuff.
Right, with Sutton, like the kind of like the head that they all came to at the end of this episode was just very powerful and just motivating and moving. And like I said, the music can really speak to you in these things, and you almost, like you said, you feel like you're watching yourself fight these
Literally.
battles. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes.
It's so crazy.
I love the soundtrack, and I love all the words that they were saying, and just playing
all
all
just-
the different scenes, and it was just everything,
meshes so
the
well.
way it came together. I was like, this is
amazing.
so perfect.
I think what I'm gonna do, because I'm obsessed with Gossip Girl, and one thing I was obsessed with was the music. So I went on Spotify and found like all the playlists. I wonder if the Bold Type has like a playlist for every episode, or just a Bold Type
Probably
playlist.
on Freeform.com.
I was on just a website just trying to
Freeform.go.
find the thing, and it was on.
Right.
I just Googled it, and you can like find them on. It says I think like Amazon, iTunes, Spotify,
Okay,
YouTube.
because the music is amazing. I know I
And
keep
it's
saying
so
it
good.
reminds
No,
me of
it's so
Gigi,
good.
but it's so amazing.
People have actually, I think, tweeted. I think I've seen tweets about them saying how good the music is.
Yeah.
So
I actually I believe it was for the show. I saw a tweet of somebody saying, "Can I please have the soundtrack to the Bold Type?" And they actually retweeted her with a
Nice.
link for it.
Oh,
They're like, yes, of
I
course.
love it.
think
I love
it's
that shows
the
are doing
Bold
this now.
Type. Yeah.
Insecure is doing the same thing. So I love because, like you said, you can feel things and music speaks to you.
Spotify.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Yeah.
every episode, the music, I'm like, okay.
yeah,
I
that
need
was.
this playlist.
I know.
I don't know if you guys ever watched The OC or One Tree Hill. Like those two shows. That's when
The
like
OC
CDs
music
were
is
still
so
mixing. I
good.
had to have every soundtrack of every
Yes.
season.
I have the soundtrack
Not
for like The
kidding.
Hills,
Yeah.
Insecure, Being Mary
So
Jane,
good.
Yeah.
So
Gossip Girl.
Yeah,
so good. Well, with that kind of wrapping us up, thank you guys so much for joining us. Wait, Becca, do you have one more thing
Real
you want to say?
quick.
Yes.
Devyn,
Yes.
have you taken the quiz online yet?
Yes, I have.
Who are you?
I got Kat.
Yeah.
We all got Kat. Except, wait, no,
Except
except,
me.
except
Yeah,
Carla.
I got Jane.
Carla
I
got Jane.
feel like when I watch Jane, I relate to her a little bit more
Yeah.
than I do Kat.
Right.
I feel like I'm
That's
half
what
serious.
Carla's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all three.
We're
of
all
the
three of the girls.
Yeah,
We're
we're
together.
combined, yeah.
Alrighty, Becca. Where can they find you on social media?
Y'all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. Come and chat.
You guys can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
And you can also find me on all social media at Dining with Devyn. It's lots of food.
Yes.
Carla.
And you can find me on Instagram at Karla B Travels, and you can find me on Twitter at Karla Beltran R, and that's Karla with a K.
And you can find me on Twitter at Nasta and on Instagram at AllieGirl. And also make sure you tune into the Megan Fahey interview on AfterBuzz TV. It was seriously, she was amazing. It was awesome. And make sure you follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. Well, you can download our podcast on iTunes. You can follow us on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. I think I've said it probably like 5 times. Well, thank you guys so much. We cannot wait to talk next week's episode because they just keep getting better and better. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.